Now the word of the Lord came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it, to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. There are times where responsibilities are placed before us, and it leaves the potential of leaving us intimidated, kind of like having us feel like we want to just run away from them. So that we can relate, let's think of some examples. Perhaps bills are becoming difficult to pay. Rent maybe is falling behind a little bit, and what you want to do is just stop, give up, just turn around and walk away. Perhaps you're taking classes and balancing other things along with that, and as you look at things, you notice that they're piling up, and it's just the pressure is really climbing, building. You consider the list of things you have to do, and you wonder, how am I going to get this done? This is just simply too much, and maybe you just want to walk away, head the opposite direction. Maybe you're trying to help someone, and it's starting to seem like you're doing so much for this person, and it's maybe apparently seemingly taking away from you. Maybe it's exhausting you, really tiring you. Maybe you have reached a point where you rather walk away, go the opposite direction. Whatever the situation where you have to provide or you have to meet a responsibility, just know that it is not fear or the spirit of giving up that God desires us to have. In the book of 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, we read the following: For God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Perhaps you're thinking, that sounds nice, but how do I find it? Well, maybe it's not as hard as you might think. We're not the first, who have found themselves at times overwhelmed by the things that we take on. In the book of Psalm, chapter 34, verse 4, we read the following: I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears. Now the question is this: do you believe that God can do that? How about this one though? Do you seek the Lord like that? Do you look for him in times of trouble? Well, it would be a good idea. I would highly suggest that we pick up on that. God has not given us the spirit of fear, and God can deliver us from our fears, just like he did with his servants in the book of Psalms. He can do it with you too. Now, why is this so important to develop these habits of facing our responsibilities, of fulfilling them, of doing these things even when they seem to be piling up and becoming stressful? Why is it so important to not give up, to not have fear, and to be able to, with the help of God, face and complete the things that we need to do? Why is that important? Why is it important to not be fearful of things? There is a list that we do not want to be a part of in the book of Revelation, chapter 21. We're going to go ahead and we're going to read verse 8, which says the following: But the fearful, the unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. The first item in that list is the fearful. So, now what? How do I get this help? Sometimes there are just situations that we don't want to go through. We just don't, right? How do we face through that? How do we get the strength for that? Friends, we can have a certain boldness to bring with us in these situations, but I want to advise, it doesn't come from within. Sometimes we have to deliver difficult messages or complete difficult tasks. Notice, let's see what an old prophet, an ancient prophet by the name of Micah, what he did, how he spoke, and how it is he had such great confidence. Ready? Micah chapter 3 verse 8 says the following: But truly I am full of power by the spirits of the Lord, and of judgment, and of might, to declare unto Jacob his transgression, and to Israel his sin. And Micah was full of power. But what kind of power? And whose power? And then there are other of us who aren't necessarily fearful, but we think we can do it all on our own strength, in our own strength, right? We got this, right? Zechariah chapter 4 verse 6 says the following. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, This is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Friends, it is clear, we need the Holy Spirit. Would you like the Holy Spirit to dwell in you, to give you this great confidence and be this comforter and all the other things that the Holy Spirit provides? I hope your answer today is yes. If you are wondering how to invite the Holy Spirit to dwell with you and to really give you this kind of boldness, strength, courage, was very easy, actually. My first recommendation is to spend time in devotion, spend time in prayer and Bible reading, Bible study every morning, in the evening as well. Make it a habit. More specifically, to answer that question, I would like to invite you to the book of Matthew chapter 7 verse 7, and we're going to see how good God is. He's very willing, ready to give good things to us as his children, right? So it says in verse 7, Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Now the question is, are you going to seek? Are you going to knock? Are you going to ask?